Bright but needy students from across central and eastern parts of Kenya received Wings to Fly scholarships or the Elimu scholarship for their secondary education. The students who sat their Kenya Certificate of Primary Education exams applied for the scholarships and after going through a rigorous selection process, were admitted to the programs. In Thika, the Community Scholarship Advisory Board (CSAC) are conducting interviews to ascertain the neediness of all shortlisted Elimu Scholarship Program applicants. They are joined by the Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha.
I came to see what Dr. James Mwangi's team is doing, a very well composed team. There are 9,000 scholarships. Through the wisdom of the President, we have decided to give 3,000 of them to Kenyan children in slums and informal settlements.
After a successful interview, Moses Chalo, who has applied for the Elimu Scholarship Program, is visited at home in Athena village. The Thika CSAC team is here to verify that what was presented at the interview is indeed true.
I was in General Cargo Primary School. I got 347. My favorite subject is science. I want to be an engineer. When I go to school, the teacher wanted some money, for example, for exams, and sometimes I did fight that. We are 5 children, and I'm the firstborn, and we live in one room.
Naendanga tu kutafuta kibarua ya kufua. Nikipata kibarua ya kufua, nikipata ya kulima, nikipata ya kuchimba. Yenye nitapata andi kupiga kagoto mimi napiganga. Unagonga hiyo kagoto unauzia wenye kwale. Ndoo ni shilingi 10. Tangu jaze ndoo upate 100 yako. Yenyewe umengangana. Saa nyingine unapatanga 70. 50 na saa nyingine 100 kutoka nikiwa mdogo. Sikuwa na mama, singeona baba. Mali nilijikuta Mombasa nikiwa sijui niliuzangwa na kina nyanyangu mwenye alikuwa amenilea na sister za mamangu.
It took the generosity of Teacher Purity to see Moses complete his education.
I've been teaching him social studies and I've seen a lot of improvement since he joined General Cargo because his trade was going up. So he had to come in to support them financially. I used to make sure that when other pupils are paying for food, I could make him eat freely without the money. He was admitted in a day school in Nairobi. Because of financial challenges they go through, he'll not make it to be a day scholar. I've looked for a better school, and by now I have a letter from Chania Boys High School.
In Kiritiri, the Embu Community Scholarship Selection Board (CSSB) has arrived at the home of one Ones Ngari for a home verification visit. It is a surprise visit and the members find neither the young man nor his mother at home. By the look of the homestead, the members verified that the situation is consistent with Ngari's application details. The CSSB sitting in Embu requires Ngari's mother to respond to certain queries.
Sasa nyumba zitafunguliwa na nani? Ndio nataka kuingia.
Hakuna mtu hata mtoto mmoja huko.
Kabisa hakuna mtu huko. Huko moyo unafanya kazi kwa shamba ya nani? Tunaweza kuja.
Ya wenyewe tu huku kushunguka tu.
Unalipa pesa ngapi kwa siku?
Zingine nikimaliza kwenye mimi nafanyia nalipo 250. Nikalie mbona nikuje?
Ndio.
My name is Ones Ngari. I scored 373 marks. I've been called to Geroge Boys High School. I studied at Msingibora Academy. I had been sponsored by the manager of the school. He saw my background, so then he decided to help me.
Ngari's dream of a normal life and completing his education was almost shattered after he lost his father in a bizarre accident.
My dad left us on 2014. He had gone to buy some milk for us, and so he went there and he met somebody. They started talking to each other. As they were speaking, the man removed an arrow, then he stabbed him. Sometimes we don't have anything to eat. My mom always traveled very far. She always spent all the day doing her works, so it is hard for her to come home She spent 2 weeks there, then she comes to see us. My mom is the one who built my bed. You find sometimes there are rats which always disturb you when you're sleeping, cockroaches, even variant. So I don't like that life.
Ngare is often left in the company of his 22-year-old brother, who dropped out of school in class 7 due to lack of school fees.
The neighbors always call me for such work for fetching water. I borrow some donkeys from the neighbors. I go and fetch water. They pay me 50 per trip. And so when I finish fetching the water, I come and buy food, or even the money I keep it, and when there is no food I spend it. Some of the shopkeepers have helped me by giving us food, money, and they have helped us even if there is no water they give us.
Nina ciana ithano ndutaga kuringana na uria wira woneka na ne ndutaga tatiko ta ithatu ukionekaga kana rimwe atura ukithia ringi vacuum ne ngorone na mitenye na ngirutaga wira.
Ngare has not shelved his dream of advancing his education to eventually pull his family out of poverty.
I would like to be an aeronautical engineer. I would like to build a big house for my family. My community always used to fetch the water far away, so I would like to build for them a dam that they'll be going to fetch water so they cannot become tired.
Nyomba yetu ya mbere kari kanyomba kamwe twarugagira steel abanja ni kanyamu na thondekete ga kurugagira kathiuru wagu gateka gumbe guru no kai kanyaki riria muthuri agire no akua ni kanitha ni eciririe ni wega make nyomba kundu mangiona ciana icio kundu ingi mama kundu kwega.
During Gareth's father's burial, plastic chairs used at the ceremony were broken. The event's vendor left them behind as the only seats the family has. The circumstances at home prompted Ngare to apply for the Wings to Fly scholarship for the opportunity to study for a brighter future.
Wings to Fly has come at a time when you find such children will not actually access education, or if not for the scholarship that they get from Wings to Fly. So I've seen it transform children, especially from very poor backgrounds, and today most of them actually have finished their secondary education and university education. So it's making an impact.
On the banks of Chania River in Chania village lives Anthony Karanja, his siblings, cousins, and their grandmother. Tragedy and abandonment left Karanja's grandmother as the sole breadwinner to her children.
I'm Anthony Karanja. I went to Kisiwa Primary School. In the KCP examination, I scored 358 and I was called in Kiambu High. I have an older brother and I'm the second born and the last born. My grandmother is taking care of 8 children.
Karanja understands that their way of life is not easy, seeing his grandmother manage through a challenge after another.
My mother was deceased in 2009 and I was 3 years old and I don't know my father. In school fees, I was helped by well-wishers. The challenges that I have faced in my education journey are like one pair of uniform. So it means you have to wash it and the next morning you wear it wet. Others are like racking food. We live in a iron sheet house which is divided in 2. We have 3 beds which Shosho and others sleep in, and I sleep on the sofa. The house sometimes is very cold because of the river.
Tukuru twakwa ni mugwanja na karia kanini gakwa ri kamwana ri karia go nyumba ino nyumba ndira ndari nayo yakometio gwe ari ngu tamahumbagira nginya maratathi kwaura no ndokirio guo ngimenya na andu makanya cibarua no mutumira wahire kibarua cio ndenda kumenya gwakwa ngimurehe nginya guku ria mokire mena mwari wa nyina ari nigo mokire makiona nyumba uri ekomete niguo macokire makirehe mapati maya makinjakira kanyumba kariku kanyumba kau Antonia gone thukuru ri arimu ni maramurihagira cia station na kiria kingi na hende makinyite makaheagia mutu.
It has taken the intervention of Karanja's class teacher to see the young man through school.
He scored 358 marks out of the possible 500 marks. He was in position 5. This boy had so many challenges, starting from school uniform. We used to buy for him. The other thing is paying lunch. In our school we have hot lunch and they pay 8 shillings per month. and he was not able to pay. I used to pay for him, plus other teachers were coming in.
Karanja's family is hopeful that the young man will get the Wings to Fly scholarship for bright but needy students.
I want to become an engineer. I will build a house for my grandmother. At the same time, I will build an orphanage.
In the remote village of Kanganga in Bere South, Caroline Wanja is getting ready for the day. Although she braces to move about, Wanja has not let this physical challenge stop her from pursuing her life's dreams and ambitions.
I scored 250 in KCP. I've been gone to Fura Girls High School in Chuka. I have 3 siblings. I am the third born in this family. My favorite subject was science, Swahili and English. I like science because it talks about our bodies and the environment that surrounds us. I like English because it is sometimes our language in school. Swahili, I like it because it is a national language.
The death of Wanja's father left her mother the responsibility of fending for the family alone. It has not been easy.
Some of the challenges that I used to face in school is that I was sent home for food, that is 4 tins of maize and 2 tins of beans, which we used to eat for lunch. I was sent again home for school fees, which I failed to go back because I didn't have the school fees. I was not able to cover the ration, and sometimes I could not be able to walk to school. My right leg, there was a big hood where I used to step. Sometimes I failed to go to school, and that reason will pass me. I will not cover it.
Muse wakwa no anyitirwe no rwaru wa kanja. Kanja no yambiko. No athiire anakoma Kenyatta. Watuika operation ya teweke katondo ne murimo ne mubituku abituka kiburi Jumamosi akiziraga thaa 3 cia kiroko.
The third born of 4, Wanja dreams big to ultimately become an asset to society. She hopes to become the change in her community if only she gets the Elimu education scholarship she applied for.
In the future, I would like to be a surgeon, and I would like to help my community by getting electricity around us.
In a hot and dry Itagani village some 63 kilometers from Kitui town lives Lilian Mugenge and parents.
I scored 204 marks. I've been called to Zama Girls.
Coming from a home of meager earnings, Lilian's school life and academics have not been easy.
My favorite subject is science and CRI because they were easy to me. In the future, I would like to be a teacher.
Despite having financial challenges, Lilian also had to overcome partial blindness.
When I was a child, I was injured and my left eye cannot see at all. The challenge that I faced at school, I was being sent school fees. We didn't have solar at our home. I used torch.
Lilian's father is a herdsman and her mother is a casual laborer. The land they have built their home on belongs to a well-wisher.
Shida yenye ilikuwa inatupata ni kama tunaambiwa tupeleke nini pisi. Tu kama ni pesa ya shule inatakikana. Mimi naenda tu kama ni kwa kibarua nachota maji. Kama ni mitungi ine naenda naongea na mwalimu na mwambia hii teacher ndio nimepata. Nivumilie tu tena niende tena nikuje nikulete. Hivyo tu ndio akakuja kamaliza.
It is for these reasons that the family applied for the Elimu scholarship with the hope that their girl continues with her education into secondary school.
Elimu scholarship program is quite impactful across the country. That is because of the level of poverty in this part of the county. It was a good move by the Ministry of Education to partner with Equity on this because of the name identity which Equity has in terms of dealing with the scholarships.
In Mamole, the CSSB sitting in Kitui is conducting a home verification visit at Mary Kamene's home.
My name is Mary Kamene from Mamole Primary School, Mamole Village. I scored 389 marks in KCP.
Years have passed since Kamene last saw her father. The family has tried to adjust to the circumstance of an absentee father, with the children's grandmother taking up the role of parents.
I live with my grandmother and my mother. My father is not here. Lastly to see him was 2016. My mom is incapacitated because she got a stroke 4 years ago.
Mama wa Mary alikonzeka, alipikwa ni sitoko, hata waleo hawezi kufanya kitu. Mimi ninamwosanga, chakula nitampatia. Mimi ninafanya kazi ya kusona kamba, nikauza, nikapatia mwalimu.
Nicholas Nzuki, the head teacher of Mamole Primary School, has been instrumental in ensuring Kamene stays in school.
In most cases, we used to do so many exams. So we could come in and wave and tell her just to sit, because we knew that something good was to come out of her. In fact, it is only in the KCP whereby she was beaten by only one pupil.
Kamene has been called to Asumbi Girls High School in Homa Bay. The flicker of light has reassured her the future will be bright if only she works hard.
When we walk around moving, trying to assist the needy kids, I'm proud of that, because I know that later the same kids that we are assisting will assist others, and so do those who have been assisted.
It is another day for the Nyeri CSSB members who are making their way to various homes to ascertain that information given by students who are shortlisted for admission to the Wings to Fly program is indeed true. At Edward Geroge's home in Ishagashiro Tetu, Nyeri, they find the boy's visually impaired mother. Edward is out looking for work at nearby tea plantations to provide for his family. Moments later, Edward arrives to find the CSSB team conducting the verification of his neediness.
I am 15 years old. I was running in Gaidori Primary School and I scored 373 marks. I was admitted to Shiga Boys High School. I like science because it is understandable very fast. I like English because it is enjoyable, and mathematics because I scored well.
It is apparent that death and disease in the family thrust Edward into the role of providing for his mother at an early age.
We live with my mother, who is visually impaired. I'm the one who is responsible for her, and my dad passed on. The work that I have found myself in is like picking tea, pruning trees, and the money I can get is about 100, 150. I can buy milk for tea and flour. In the morning I can cook and leave everything prepared.
Mawira nĩ gũteithagia gũkũ, akaruga, akaprepare gũkũ, akahata. Tatua gũthiĩ handũ okorwo nĩ kanitha tũgagĩthiĩ nake, okorwo nĩ handũ ndĩretwo tũgagĩthiĩ nake. Nyũmba ĩno tũikaraga nĩ harambe ndekire, ngĩakĩrwo nyũmba, tondũ ĩrĩa mũthuri andigĩte rĩ, nĩ kũgwa yagwaga. Caci mokĩte mahoya gũkũ makĩona nyũmba nĩ ĩragwa, nĩguo magĩire na rĩciria rĩa gũteithĩrĩria ũrĩa mangĩnjĩkĩra harambe.
It is for these reasons that Edward Geroge applied for the Wings to Fly program and managed to convince the board to get the scholarship.
Through Equity Bank, so many lives are being transformed. Children from very poor backgrounds are going through school, which they wouldn't have done without the help of this scholarship. And being a member gives me lots of satisfaction, realizing that we've been used to transform the life of a child.
The Wings to Fly scholarship program is an initiative of the Equity Group and MasterCard Foundation. It has supported over 19,000 students across the country.
Dr. James Mwangi is a Kenyan par excellence. What he is doing here now is very thorough. You don't have to come from anywhere. You just need to be the right person to be given the opportunity. So the government of the Republic of Kenya is proud to work with him.
The Elimu scholarship that is now in its second year is a partnership between the Equity Group Foundation, the World Bank, and the Government of Kenya. It has supported 18,000 students, bringing the total number of students supported by both programs to 37,009.